Should be. Okay. Can you guys hear me? I'm trying some new software, so bear with me for a second here. Microphone. Can you guys hear me okay? Let's get rid of that. Stop share. Okay. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, you can hear me. Right on. Hey, Kyle. Hey, Joe. Hey, Stefan. Hey, Flavio. Rich Stone. Loud and clear, brother. Hey, Alexi from Brazil. From Argentina. I hear you. Okay. Hello from Antarctica. Yeah, right. That's awesome if you are CR 1000 Hey, hey, hey. I am a great. Hello, Curtis and beautiful family. Thanks, guys. So today I actually kind of had some things that I wanted to just talk through. I was talking to my publisher of my book last week, New Society, and we were talking about doing a new version of the Urban Farmer, and I liked the idea of it, and yeah, so I'm going to write a new book, and it's going to come out in 2020, spring of 2020. It's going to be a revised version of the Urban Farmer. So today I would love to get feedback from you guys of what you think I should put in the book. We can also do the usual answer some questions stuff. I also want to talk about the membership site a bit. I've had a lot of good feedback. Like I can tell that, it's not for everybody. There's some people that are like, yeah, man, I'm happy that you're making YouTube videos, but I won't go on the membership site. That's fine. I'm going to keep putting videos on YouTube. Maybe a little bit less. But having said that too, the membership site might give me better resources to make less YouTube videos, but better quality videos. Who knows? So I want to talk about that. I've got a question from a young man named Cole Palmer that I'm going to address that I thought was kind of a cool question. Also, if you want to get into my microgreens course, the last week is, or the registration closes this Sunday at 11:59 Pacific Standard Time, PM. So there's that. And yeah, so we're going to do that. So how many people we got in here? Where can I see the number of people in our chat? I can't see it right now. 145. Okay, wow. Thanks for joining me, you guys. It's cool. It's cool doing this. So anyways, I want to talk about the book. I'll talk about that first. So I'm going to write a revised version of the Urban Farmer. So it's going to be an updated version. And it's going to include, here's the chapters I've got so far, sort of loose subjects. And please feel free to chime in and say, Curtis, you got to write about this or write about that, as long as it's, something that's realistic for me to write about. But I'm going to do a whole bit on the paper pot transplanter in the book, like how to use it, best practices, crops to use it for, all that kind of stuff. Going to talk about all the new production systems on my farm that we implemented since I wrote the book. Basically, since I wrote the book, things that are different are, I'm using a variety of new tools. We switched everything over to 50-foot beds. In the book, I wrote about 25-foot beds. And so in the book, I'll probably talk about more just broader production systems, where it's not necessarily about the size of the bed that's important. It's about how you're mapping your production. Going to write about new market streams, because after I wrote the book, I started going full into retail. So that totally changed as well. So I'm going to write about that. I'm going to write about aggregators and food hubs that have been a big part of our business as well. Hey, Jeremy from New Zealand. And I'm going to write more about greenhouses, more about like the use of caterpillar tunnels, and even some of the season extension like I'm in right now. I'm in my greenhouse, and do a whole section updated on post-harvest. So that's what I've got so far. Feel free to email me, put write about organization, focusing on selling mistakes. Well, there's a lot of that in the book already, but I'll think about that. Totally sidetracked when I saw that question. But yeah, that's what it's going to be in. So feel free to chime in, send me an email, or put a comment in here about other things you should think I should put the book in. And the cool thing about the book, I think we're going to be able to do this. I hope that we're going to be able to do this and I don't get in trouble for saying this, but we're going to do the book in like full color. So the book there'll be no more drawings in the book. It'll all be color. The printing technology is getting better and it's becoming more affordable to do that. Having said that, this book will probably cost a little bit more than the current one because it's going to be thicker, more production costs, more color, but still, cheap. So yeah, that's what I'm going to put in my book. Your old content is what brought me to you. Stick with it. Can't get enough. Well, I appreciate that, man. But, I've changed. And, this is one thing. A lot of people comment on this. And it's like, people call you a sellout for doing things new. But it's like, man, like, it's my life. Like, I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. That's just not the kind of person I am. So I've changed. I don't farm nearly as much as I used to. Like, the days of me making videos like on the farm doing stuff, they might come back around at some other time, but right now, like I've got at least 500 videos like that on my channel. So I'm just focusing on new stuff. I'm focusing on other growers. I like I said when I made that video talking about my membership site, I do want to keep reaching new people. I do want to get the word out to more people, and that's why I will continue to publish to YouTube or whatever the platform of the day will be. Right now, I've got 250,000 people who follow me on YouTube, so that's great. But the membership site is going to give me a platform to do more in-depth stuff where I can like get on a flight, go to visit a farmer like Joel Salatin, film him for 2 days, make a bunch of videos with him or something like that. And I'm throwing out Joel Salatin because I'd love to go make a video with Joel Salatin, but it could be a ton of different farmers, and I hope it is. So I want to show other types of farming because you know what? The brutal truth about my farming is it's not that complicated. It's really simple. Like I can only make so many videos of me harvesting radishes and harvesting greens and stuff like that. And I'll continue to do that to some degree on other people's farms where the context is a bit different. And I think that can provide newer information. Then I'll do that. But if it's just me on the farm harvesting greens, it's like I can only do so much of that. Hey, thanks, Howard. You guys are in Puerto Rico. Awesome. We had 2 people from in our Tennessee workshop come from Puerto Rico. That was pretty cool. So, a couple of other things I have on the agenda. People could also recommend farmers they want me to visit, and I've actually got my notes here. I'm taking suggestions, and your excitement is 100% obvious. Thank you. Any chance Homesteaders America can get you out to the conference? Somebody from Homesteaders America reached out to me. I think my rate was too high for them. maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I would love to go to that conference. For me though, I travel with my family. And so I don't want to I'm trying to do more with less as far as traveling. So this is why I prefer my long form format for teaching, my 5-day workshop, because I can bring my whole family with me. We can go somewhere for 7 to 10 days and it's an experience and it's awesome. And then I work about, 6 days in there. And then we always have like a couple days on the shoulder to do things as a family. And that's really great. Whereas shorter trips I'm trying to do less of, but I'm doing some, like I'm going to Florida next week. And so I still do them. And I think my family is getting a little tired of traveling like all the time. So we've done a lot of flying this year. We are counting the flights. Hey, thanks for the super chat, dude. B. Oh, here's a question. I'll get to it in a second. But yeah, it's taxing traveling with the family a lot, but it's actually quite fun. But when you're doing it so much, it does get tiring after a while. But traveling as a family is some of the best family experiences we have, even on the flight, because like we don't give our daughter an iPad or anything. So when we're on the flight, we're just hanging out, the three of us sitting together, and we're just hanging out, reading books and playing games and eating, and so it's a lot of fun. Brian, thanks for the super chat. Wisconsin has a steady supply of microgreens because of your info. Loving my new career. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. You're welcome. And thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So are you in the microgreens course, Brian? Or did you just kind of figure it out by watching my videos and my YouTube and my book? Okay, let's look at some of your guys' questions in here. Yeah, the super chats are awesome, guys. Thank you for that. I have a big question. My cousin has a tilapia farm and he changes water of the pools. Dude, I'm not, I don't know anything about aquaponics. I'm not your guy for that. Yeah, so hey, for those of you in the chat right now, say aye if you want to see videos about hemp and cannabis. I have a lot of growers that have been reaching out to me since I talked about it before. I think it's where I'm at. Hemp and cannabis are just another plant. Like it's just a thing. What's cool about the hemp scene is it's really innovative with like technological agriculture, and I'm not. Hey, thanks for look at. I see a lot of eyes. I see a couple no's. See, yes. I had a really interesting conversation the other day with a guy in Silicon Valley about like the future of agriculture. And this is we filmed it. And it's a video I'll probably put up on the membership site. It's like an hour long. But we were just getting into a lot of the innovation and in the hemp space, or cannabis space, I should say, because it's more about growing bud than it is hemp. The technology they're employing is just remarkable, and it's going to have an effect on agriculture eventually. So I think it's a subject worth exploring, and yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in it. No need to cannabis, no weed, more food, agro. Well, it's not like it's not like if I make a video or two on cannabis, it's gonna be the sole purpose of my channel. I'm gonna continue to focus on market gardening and small scale ag and organic farming for sure, 100%. But I like to mix things up. Keeps it interesting. What other things do I have on here? Yeah, so some people were, asking about on the membership site too when I put that thing up, and it's going to be cheap. I don't even know what the price is going to be, but it's going to be less than $10, I think, to start it. And it's not just going to be a travel vlog. A lot of people were like, Curtis, don't be like Anthony Bourdain and do this and this, and that's not necessarily it either. It's just they're all options. It's just like all options on the table. I really enjoy making content. I worked with a young filmmaker guy down in Tennessee too, and it was kind of fun to have somebody shooting for me. That last video at the Rake that was shot by him, a young fellow named Morgan. It's kind of freeing in a way to make content with another person filming. Like I've been doing it in vlog style for so long, and I have to move cameras around all the time. Like a lot of the videos you guys have seen that are probably more of my popular videos, or at least the ones that have a lot of edits, and then there's drone shots and stuff, like those take a lot to produce. Like, especially when it was me on the farm doing that stuff, like in 2016 and 2017, it was such a hustle to grow my YouTube channel to where it is now. Was such a hustle because I was still farming. 2016, I was still farming full time. 2017, I was farming part time because that's when we had Toby. So we had Toby and Mark, and I was like 1 or 2 days a week, but I was making videos too. It was a hustle, especially in 2017, because the videos became more elaborate and I was doing multiple cameras, drone shots, setting the shots up, and like, man, it's a lot of work to do this stuff. So having somebody shoot is really cool. It's really cool. So I think a membership site, if I had some more consistent revenue coming in that I could dedicate to those resources, meaning that I would be paying people and employing people to help me, it would allow me to make more content. And I'd love to have somebody help me with do my editing. Like I do all my editing. I do everything, right? Like I'm a totally one-man show. I manage everything myself. I don't even have like a virtual assistant or anything like that. Like I do everything to do with the Urban Farmer. I do myself, except I don't ship my books. So when you buy a book from my website, it comes from either a warehouse in San Diego or here in Kelowna. I actually have my mother ships. If you're in Canada and you buy a book from me, it's my mom sent it to you. So she does my book shipping for me. But other than that, I do everything myself. And that is getting, as I'm getting older, and I have a family, the time with the family is becoming more valuable. And it's funny that I'm saying that because like I know my wife and daughter in the room, and in the house, and I should be hanging out with them. So we might cut it short today. Might be a shorter video. So yeah, so adjusting the vlog, the travel vlog thing. The course. Yeah, that's about it. So I don't really have much else to say, guys, unless you want to just ask me questions, and we'll hang out. John, how old am I? I'm 39 years old. I'm pushing. I think I'm. Are you officially pushing 40 when you're 39? Is that like when it's legit? What's the CVR for cannabis? That's a good question. I bet you it would be. Depends on the marketplace you're in. I bet you it would be about a 4. I don't think it would be a 5 because you have a liquidity problem with cannabis. If you are, especially if you're you have a liquidity problem with cannabis if you're in the black market or the legal market, because in the legal market, it's highly regulated. And so there's not necessarily, and in BC right now, it has to be sold through, like you have to get all these licenses and all this stuff. So you can't just get a crop going and then sell it. And even if you're a drug dealer and you're selling illegally, there's a liquidity problem too, right? You can't necessarily grow 50 pounds of weed and sell it. So that would be an important consideration with the CVR, because I guess that would fall into the popularity category. There's a super chat here from David. You've inspired me to start farming last year. I am fine. Regards from Spain. Right on, dude. Thanks for the super chat. I'm going to be in Europe, not Spain. I'd love to go to Spain. Hey, David, if your market garden gets really happening in Spain and you want to do a workshop, reach out to me at some point. Maybe when you get your infrastructure up and running. But next year in August, I'll be in, not all 100% confirmed, but mostly confirmed, Sweden, Luxembourg, Germany, and perhaps Belgium. Those 4 places I'll be in Europe. That'll be August 19th from be like 12th. I think it starts on the 12th for 3 weeks or something like that. So yeah, we'll be in Europe. Very exciting. Franchise Green City Acres. John, I have had that said to me hundreds of times, and it's very complicated. If you can think of a way to do it, let me know. But it is very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts. Like, it's one thing to franchise a farm and a product. That's everywhere. That's no big deal. But to franchise an urban farm model, and if you mean by franchise it, you mean like put urban farm plots, like basically franchise my model and have urban farmers all around doing it. It's so logistically complicated. There's so many moving parts with all the land contracts and all that. Like, the way to franchise farming is to have one massive farm or at least a couple and then produce stuff. But to have little farms, man, there's so many logistics. It's an interesting thought, but yeah, I've actually had fairly serious entrepreneurs come to me with that proposal before. We're willing to put money into it. And I looked at it. I looked at it for a long time, actually, and thought about it over many years, because it's been an idea that's been around for almost 6 years at least. So yeah, I don't think I can do that. But hey, if you can think of a way to do it, let me know. Lucas, thank you for the super chat, dude. Working on filling my yard where my pool used to be to make a garden. Can I just fill over the sand? Or should I dig it all up first? It depends how deep you want to go. If it's just bare sand, like you filled it in with sand, you might want to put down like some sort of like really rough soil on top, maybe a foot of rough soil, and then do compost and good soil on top of that. Because if you're just going like, say, compost to make beds on pure sand, and the sand goes as deep as the pool did, those beds are going to drain like crazy. So I would say put down some soil that is going to hold some clay-based soil, some thick soil, and then build your beds on top of that, just like you've seen me do. If it's just sand, it's going to drain. But, it depends the climate you're into. That might be good. But it's probably just a big circle shape. So now that'd be weird. Unless your beds were only in that space and you needed good drainage because you're in a really wet climate, well, then maybe. Context is so important, right? With all this stuff. Okay. That's awesome. That's awesome, Mark. Okay, who's got some other good questions for me? The free market. Yes. Is there a free market? CR 1000-26740. Is there a free market in Antarctica? How's the farming down there? That'll be an interest. That's going to be a very interesting. All this high tech stuff, like some of these slides we were looking at yesterday with. Oh yeah, Josh. I will talk about that in a second about paper being organic. Thank you for the reminder. Is all this high tech stuff for farming, like all the vertical stuff? It's like it'll be awesome when we're in space or when we're in on the moon, but I don't see the point of it much here. It's just so much expense to do it. So yeah, so Josh brings up a question about the paper pot being organic, and it's not here. I have a little document actually. Where is it? Pull it up here. It's there. I'll just show it to you guys, and you can you can decide how to interpret it. This is a post that came up on social media the other day about the paper pot. And where is it here? I'll share it. This was somebody from. This is cool. With this new software, I can now share my screen, so I can share things with you guys. Check that out. You see that? So this was an update from somebody who is lobbying the National Organic Standards Board. And can you guys see that? Where's the screen? Can I see it? Yes, there it is. Cool. You can see it. Yeah, check it out. That's what it says. So it sounds like they're on the next motion to take it to the NOP. And I think they decided to turn a blind eye. I think that's what it was. Here, there's another one here too. Yeah, here's another one. This is from some people in the Paper Pot Mastery group on Facebook. Here, let me share this one. I wonder if I can share both. The new share. Can I share them both? This one here. Can you see both of those, or what are you seeing? Okay. Yeah, so they're gonna yeah, here's the other one. Check that out. Christian Mueller asking if I know Charles Downsing. No, I don't. I am familiar with him, but I don't know him personally. I've watched his videos. He's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool gardener, intensive gardener. Robotics in your future farming? I think so. I mean, I'm highly interested in robotics. Some of the stuff we were looking at yesterday. Here, I'll show you a slide. This is cool that I can share all this stuff now on this new software. But where's that slideshow from last night? Here we go. This is. Let's show you this guy. These were some of the robotics that we were looking at last night. Some of these machines. So check this out. I'll open up the slide here. New share. This. Yeah. So some of these robots, I think, have incredible potential in with the market garden, because there's really. So check out the one. It's the third one from the left, or the second one from the right. It's basically a machine that functions like a BCS, and this thing can sit over the soil, and it could do. I mean, just think about all the tasks you have to do on a farm, as far as getting your crops in the ground and all the way to harvest. So you've got preparation of soil, which is, could be rototilling, it could be some kind of cultivation, it's bed shaping, it's whatever. But so you've got that preparation of the soil. Then you've got, in organic, you'd have spreading compost. I don't know if robots could do that. Maybe they could. A big robot with a big basket on it. But then you've got things like planting, and then you've got all the stages of cultivation. So a tool like that could essentially do all of those things. And so that's a significant part of bringing a crop to market. Besides from that, you've got the harvesting and the post-harvest, which is actually a lot of work. A lot of people they devalue how much work that is. Like on our farm, it's most of the work is post-harvest. Needless to say, the thing that's neat about this technology is farmers could scale. Like, you would only need to have one robot like this, and then you could have a market garden that was hundreds of acres, maybe. How you harvest would be the biggest question after deciding or figuring out that you could manage the field crops. But like something like this could basically go and prep your beds, and you just set it and it would just go. Maybe it's solar powered, and then maybe it has a battery that charges so that it can keep working throughout the night. And then it would seed your beds, and you could load it up with different types of seeds, and you'd program where it would plant those seeds and so on and so forth. And then it would come back and do shallow cultivation to manage weeds, just like you see in the picture, actually. So I think with that kind of technology, you're going to see a lot of, you're going to see the ability to scale, because market gardens do have a scalability issue. I think I've talked about this a little bit in previous videos, but there are, like, out of all the market gardens I've seen that are like 30-inch beds, say 30-inch by 100-foot beds, Jean Martin's new farm is, like, in my opinion, the biggest that I've seen it go to still be profitable and still get the top price. So what happens when you scale, like anything, is that your price has to go down, because you now have to move product in other ways. Like, you have to export product, you have to sell it to franchises or distributors that are going to give you a lower price. So the economics come down in some way, but they also come up because, big business has low margins, small business has higher margins. So you find where that sweet spot is. So anyways, it is like the lady of the Lake Fork saying, like the Roomba. I have a Roomba vacuum in my house. It's fantastic. Exactly. It's more or less like that. I think, though, there'll be more, satellite, and maybe not satellite, but sensor information and data built around what it's doing where, and you'd have your farm really gridded out. So there would be, but yeah, in a way, it's some of the base technology that's from a Roomba. Patrick, you're not that late. Well, maybe you are. We talked about the book. We talked about the membership site. So yeah. Kyle asking about different resources for. I mean, that stuff you can easily find that stuff on Google. I don't have any particular resources to point to that about different temperatures and stuff for veg. I mean, you know, in a nutshell, for market gardeners, tomatoes can be kept at, you know, more or less room temperature, and then veg needs to be 2 to 4 degrees Celsius. That's what we've done. You know, maybe for if you're storing fruit and stuff like that, it might be slightly different. It might be a little bit warmer. Yeah. So, what else can we talk about? So, there's a few farmers I want to go and visit. Do you guys follow Stefan Subkowiak on YouTube? Do any of you guys follow him? The Permaculture Orchard. Stefan's in just outside of Montreal, like in Verdun. Well, his farm is in the South Shore or something around Montreal. But he's a great guy. I've been meaning to go make a video with him for a long time. So I'm gonna go talk to him. Maybe Steph, are you watching right now? You came into one of the last ones before. I'd like to go visit Steph. I'd like to go and visit Joel Salatin if he'll have me. I would like to go and check out Gabe Brown. Gabe Brown's a really cool farmer doing good stuff. Who else should I check out? Hey, any of you guys from Mexico in here? I'm going to be in Mexico again this winter. So if there's any cool farms or operations you can think of in Mexico, like along, we're going to be around Zihuatanejo. So anywhere around there would be cool to know. Rob S., what's your question? You're like, answer and I'll give you a bud. What does that mean? A bud, as in like a Bud Light? ETA on the release of the book is going to be spring of 2020. So writing a book takes a long time. Hey, I'd love to come to Thailand. Are there any cool farming initiatives that would bring me there? If you can think about that. Writing a book takes a long time. So like, I know I could write it fairly quickly. Like, I think I could probably write it over the winter maybe. But it has to go and get edited, and there's three edits. So you do the first draft, they edit it down, they send you it back with basically everything crossed out that they want to take out, and then in red, and then you go back and you take that stuff out and rewrite some stuff that they wanted to, or change the wording of some things, and they go back, do another edit where you take out more stuff, and then the third draft comes back where you're just kind of fixing the last little bits. But then you go to typeset. That takes a while. And then there's some other stuff even up until publishing, but it takes a while to get a book out. So I think like when I was talking to my publisher the other day, that was the most realistic date. Like, even if I had it done, like, say this winter, early spring, it would still take that long. Grace, are you going to go visit Justin Rhodes? I should go visit Justin. I just haven't been down to North Carolina in a while, but I should go visit them. I was down there for the Mother Earth News Fair a few years ago. So yeah. Stefan, the app is dead. The app is dead. It's not entirely dead, actually. It was a very overly ambitious project, and I think neither of us really had the full-on commitment to finish it. However, Steven, the guy who I was working with on this, is going to publish a really light version of the app, and it's actually really cool. It's called Farmbase, and I think you can go to farmbase.net and sign up for it. And it's basically a fresh sheet generator. It's actually brilliant. It's it provides a really good service if you sell to restaurants. So you basically put a fresh sheet together, and then you like of your offerings for each week, which you should do if you're farming, selling commercially. You should be making a fresh sheet every week. Let me turn this stop share off. But it basically sends out a fresh sheet as an email to all of your customers, and they have an account set up, at least just an email address associated with that account, and then they can order right on the fresh sheet. So they get the fresh sheet on their phone, and then they basically just go yes, 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 check, 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 send, boom. Then it gets sent to the hub. It aggregates all the orders for you, so it tells you, so and so this much product, this much product, this much product, and then tells you where to put it. And then it'll also even connect to QuickBooks. So then you just go, once the order's confirmed, it just makes an invoice to QuickBooks, and then they sign the invoice. It's pretty damn cool. Jean Martin's farm is like fully using it right now, so it's yeah, it's pretty cool. So I don't know if it's totally done, but Gabe Brown's in North Dakota. Okay, I got stuck in Fargo, North Dakota once when my band, like 15 years ago, was on tour, and our van broke down, and we were stuck in Fargo, North Dakota. And it was an interesting town. It was very, very interesting. We were city slickers at the time, so it was kind of an interesting experience for us. Ryan asking, most difficult thing you've experienced while aggregating. Do you mean if I'm aggregating product or if I'm selling to an aggregator? So when I was aggregating product, I didn't even do it for a full year. I made an effort to do it, basically. And it was a lot of work. The software wasn't really around much when I was doing it. I was like demoing FarmyGo and stuff like that. The most difficult thing to do with aggregating, though, is to coordinate with the farmers, is to look at your weekly product lists of what you want to bring, and then making sure all those farmers you're getting that product from to fill your baskets are having that product, the right amounts and the right quality at the right price. So software can do a lot of that now, which I think is cool. However, it's yeah, it can have its challenges. Oh, is somebody saying that I'm not on the screen? No, I'm on there. So if that's what you mean by aggregating, that's what I would say. To sell to aggregators, there's not that many challenges. It's actually quite easy because they just want to buy a lot of the same stuff. John, how about Zenith microgreens? Yeah, here what I'm gonna do for you right now, John, is I'm gonna share your Instagram because I think it's so cool. So you guys, I'm gonna share with you, and I love how I can screen share now because it actually kind of makes this a bit more fun, to be honest. Not that it wasn't fun, but this is I like sharing people's stuff, and I like. So we're oh dude, Zenith microgreens. How do you spell Zenith again? Oh yeah, ZENI. Okay. I thought I followed you. Oh, maybe it's because I'm signed in with. No, that's right. Zenith microgreens. Here we go. This guy John was in our webinar when we did our microgreens webinar the other day, and he's a little video of his growing setup. And so, John, tell me again, how many square feet was your microgreens growing area right now? Tell me how many square feet this is. So check this out, guys. John, I think it looks like 100 square feet or something. John is growing microgreens in a very, very tight space. So here's a little 360 of his setup. Check that out. I love how much of a laboratory it is. $50 square feet. So, hey, so John, what kind of like how, if you don't mind sharing some numbers, like how many flats are you selling a week, or if you're comfortable sharing how much money you're making selling microgreens right now? I'd love to hear how much you spent setting this setup up. Like, what did this whole rig cost you to set up? So yeah, guys, John is growing in 50 square feet. And here, I'll play the video again. He's growing in 50 square feet. He's got his washing, all of his seeds there, his sprouting trays over on the left. And then he's got the growing area in there. And so, I want to go back. So you've got only like, how many flats can you do at once? Like 12 or 15? So people are pretty stoked on this, John. You might have just got some fans. I can't stop it. So yeah, you guys can check out John at Zenith Microgreens on Instagram. So yeah, that's Brother John's microgreen setup. Pretty damn cool. That's what's so cool with microgreens is you can just bootstrap it. You can just do them in a small space and just get some production happening and go for it. It's pretty cool. You can do 30 flats a week. So, if you can, so check that out, guys. If John can do 30 flats a week, then he should be able to make $600 a week. Like you should be able to, I mean, it always comes down to the exact details, but hypothetically, in my experience, you should be able to do $20 a flat. That would be gross. That wouldn't be net. I mean, it would be, maybe your net might be, call it 15. But that wouldn't be including your, well, no, it would be including your labor. Yeah, you could factor your labor in there. So there you go. That's $450 a week net you could make on a setup like that. But the cool thing about that setup is you can just add blocks onto that like Lego. Like you could scale that until you're blue in the face, as long as you got a market for it. Another cool microgreen grower I want to show you guys here is Micro YYC. Some of you guys might have been familiar. I did a video. This is of Vanessa Hannell. I did a video with her. Somebody who's a real keener. Could you pull it up and put it in the chat? We did a video with Vanessa. I interviewed her at my farm plot. But check her farm out here. This is really cool. So this is what John at Zenith could scale into. You could, because it's all the same principles. Everything's indoors. You're just adding lights and shelving and growing space. That's all you're adding. So something like that, full on indoor. These are just generic industrial shelving racks. You can just scale this till you're blue in the face. It all just comes down to market. So yeah, I mean, I think Vanessa has like, maybe it's 500 or 1,000 square feet, something like that. Like she's got a little bit bigger of a setup. So you can check her out at Micro YYC. That's her Instagram here. Here's some of her stuff. Just cool entrepreneur, just crushing it, just going for it. It's awesome. It's really cool. Like the urban farming space is like really coming together. A lot of people are on the scene. A lot of people are doing it. And there's a lot of success stories right now with people. It's great. And we put that microgreens course together to basically get you doing that faster. Get to a scale where you can just knock it out of the park. Look at this. This is cool. I like what she's done here. She's just got these. I did this for a couple winters. You basically just buy these things. There's 12. It breaks a 10-20 flat into 12 portions, and then you just sell those units. I used to sell them for $3 at the farmer's market. So, it's in a 2-inch deep flat. You can do, each one can be a different type of microgreen. Then you bring, like I used to just bring 12 of a couple varieties to market. So it might only be 36 units, but it's 3 flats at $3 a piece, right? So that's pretty good money. What is that exactly? That's $108 on 3 flats. So like that's where if you can sell a living product like that, and it's an easy sell at a farmer's market because there's barely anything to it. it's just you'd bring them to the market. You'd probably want to sell them like 2 days before they were primed to cut, so that they weren't gonna start getting too big and yellow. When the customer buys them, like you want the customer to buy them and then have them be able to sit on their shelf for at least a few days before they start to get too long, but that's a super cool idea there. Now that we're on here, I'll close that. I was gonna say let's just cruise Instagram and I'll show you some other cool farmers that are worth following. There is a really cool farm in Japan that I follow. You guys should check this out. This guy here, he's called Noguchi Farm. And here, I'll share my screen again. And this is cool stuff. Like these guys, I don't think these guys are organic per se. And like some people who are real Puritans will be like, oh, well, they're using a lot of plastic and whatever. But I don't care. Like I look for ideas and inspiration. And I'm just like, whatever, take cool ideas and make them better, But these guys use this tractor, where is it? Here, I'm gonna show it to you on YouTube actually. But this is another little future of agriculture thing. So check this out. This is the I'm gonna pull it up here. This is, I think, where the technology. Yes, this is the video. This technology can get very exciting. I'm going to try to share this with you. It'll probably look kind of crappy because I'm sharing a YouTube video. Here, this is what I'll do. You guys can just watch it. I'll share the link. Pull it up. Check that out. Here, I'll just take a screenshot of this and show you this technology. But this planting machine is just unbelievable. Like, it's kind of like a BCS. And it just plants, it's like planting for you. So here's a little shot of it. But yeah, if you got that link below, watch that video. It's very, very interesting. But here, I'll just pull up a little picture of this and share it. Yeah, check that out. Let me make that a bit bigger. What does that look like for you guys? So you walk it along and it just plants for you. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. So this is made by Kubota. So the company that makes the Kubota tractors that everybody knows, the orange tractors. I believe they're a South Korean based company, and they make all kinds of stuff. Like they make these rice planters. This is the onion planter. And look at, if you can see, it can do 4 rows on a 30-inch bed. I mean, I think that's technically a little bit wider than a 30-inch bed, but whatever. I'm sure you could narrow it out a little bit. But it's doing 4 rows. So, I mean, could you imagine a machine like this? And he's just walking alongside it. Like it just goes. Oh, the shirt says, read great books. It just goes along and you just guide it. And so you're not really doing any major physical work. You're just making sure that it's going properly and you're reloading flats. And yeah, but yeah, check that video. It's here. I'll paste it again just for people who might have just missed it or something. No, it's not it. But yeah, super, super cool technology that's coming with market gardening. Because here's the deal. Here's the deal with farming that a lot of people don't want to say, and I'll say it because it's just how I roll. I like to say the truth. The amount of people getting into farming is getting less and less. So there's a lot of people out there who want to be agrarians and really think that, yeah, everybody should get back to the land. And in a perfect world, I would agree with that. And I think, sure, there's a lot of great things about that, but it's just not what's happening. The number of farmers is declining constantly ever since. I mean, it's been happening for hundreds of years because agricultural practices consistently get better and better and better. And you don't need as much land. You don't need as many people. And it is a tough job, generally speaking, and less people want to do it. And our economy has, because of agriculture, because we have a food system that can basically feed mostly everybody, that people can specialize in other things, so that people go, well, why would I want to be a farmer? So there's less and less people farming. So technology that can replace labor is going to be good. It's especially with organic, in my opinion, because it's going to mean organic can be more available to more people for cheaper. So, hey, I almost forgot, and I'm only going to be around for 10 more minutes, and then we're going to shut her down. I'm going to go in for dinner. I have a question from a young fellow named Cole Palmer, who asked me. He wants to know what, and I thought this would be an interesting thing to talk about for a few minutes. What are the advantages or disadvantages of preserving farmlands? So there's a lot of people that really think that we're in a crisis of losing farmland, and I don't want to say that we're not, but because I can't point to any significant data right now that says we are or we're not. But one thing I can say about farming, and it's an important consideration when you're thinking about whether like a certain amount of land should be preserved for farming, is the fact that farmers get more productive on less land with less work and less resources constantly. So we don't need as much farmland as we used to. And so I think about it that way. Like, we have the agricultural land reserve in BC here, and it was sort of a program that had good intentions. Like all government programs have good intentions. The outcomes are not necessarily the same as the intentions. But the agricultural land reserve had good intentions in that it wanted to preserve a bunch of land to be like, we need to keep this to produce food. Otherwise, what happens if we don't get food from California anymore, or whatever, any circumstance, you name it. And that's a good thing to be concerned about. However, we don't need as much land to farm on. And so much of the land in the ALR is just sitting there. It's just sitting there doing nothing. It's just empty, and it has big houses on it, and people abuse the ALR system, and it's not necessarily abusing, it's just taking advantage of it, which I would do if I was in those people's situation too. But what people do is they buy big tracts of land for like speculation real estate, and they put houses on it, but they have to keep a certain amount in food production or in farm production, which is not necessarily even food. It could be alfalfa for horses, which I guess is technically food, or it could be any kind of agricultural product. So basically the easiest type of thing. And then you have somebody come and mow your 50-acre lawn once a year, and then you get the tax credit of being in the ALR, which might save you. Like, it saves you a lot. Like, if you're in the ALR and you have a big house on there and it's a big piece of land, if you don't farm it, your taxes could be like $10,000 or more a year. And if you farm the land, your taxes can go down to like $500 a year. So it's a significant tax saving for people. And that's why they want to, avoid. I mean, I'm all about, I don't want to pay a lot of tax. So I get it. Like, I get why people would do that. It's just silly that the government program was created to protect farmland, though, because it's not really happening if a lot of people are doing that, so it's kind of redundant. So that's my thought on that. But yeah, as for preserving farmlands, I mean, to it specifically, it's I don't know. I guess is the question, do you want to get the government involved, and then to what end do you want them to be involved? Because the problem with, say, the ALR here is that, and I've known a lot of farmers who have been in the situation, and they're not happy about it, is that it makes it harder for farmers to get out, in the sense that if a farmer can only sell his land that he owns for farming purposes, it limits the market he can sell that land in. So it often means that older farmers who are retired, their kids don't want to take over the farm, nobody wants to buy their farm, they can't sell it, they can't move on, they can't do anything else, and so they're stuck to it. And because real estate prices here in British Columbia are so high, the speculative price on agricultural land is sometimes as high as it is for development land, that it's not realistic. If people go, well, why would I pay $2 million for an acre when all I can do is farm it? A farm isn't worth $2 million for farming, right? Unless you're growing weed. And only so many people can do that, though. So that's a challenge. Those are things to consider. So I don't have an answer specifically like what should we do about preserving farmland, but those are things to consider. And I think context is everything, and everywhere, wherever you're going to be, there's going to be a different context, and it's important to take that into consideration. So got a few more minutes. Kind of take a little scan through the questions here and see if there's any burn-in ones. Otherwise, I'm going to bid you guys a farewell. Hey, Curtis, microgreens aren't trendy in my city, and they simply won't sell for the standard price. So we sell at 50% of what you recommend to corner the market. Is it savvy or mean to other microgreens? Is this savvy or mean to other micro farmers? I don't know, man. I mean, it's a free market. If you can afford to produce them at that price, then I think all's fair. I mean, people are free to choose, right? So I think that's all good. You got to do what you got to do. If you can make money at it that way, great. 50% though, I mean, let me think about that. So I get, like I said, about a net of $15 a flat on microgreens. So you're getting half, you're saying. So you're getting $7.50. Wow, that's pretty low. I mean, maybe you have a cheaper labor costs and seed costs, though. So those are important things to consider. But yeah, it's tough to say. And, microgreens don't sell everywhere. Microgreens really are best in trendy or type places. That's the kind of market stream you need to be in. Like, not necessarily a big city, but you need to be in a city that's like got happening restaurants, has got like a culture of people that are interested in health food and stuff like that. And then, yeah, I think you're good. What else do we have for, hey, who plays board games? You guys play board games? I'm kind of a board game geek, and tonight I'm actually having some friends over here in the greenhouse, and we're going to play Risk. We have a Game of Thrones Risk game, and so I am personally pretty pumped about that. So that's what I'm doing tonight after dinner, after we kind of hang out with the family for a bit, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. And there's another game too. If you guys like board games, a game called Agricola. It's a farming game. I would highly recommend it. It's a farming strategy game, and I play that with some friends from time to time, and it's a blast as well. So I'm gonna just share this little image here. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna wrap her up, guys. Any more burning questions before we go? Scythe board game. No, I looked at that. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, thanks for joining me, you guys. And just a reminder, my microgreens course, it does close. The registration closes this Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So if you do want to get into it, like, we don't take any more people in it. Like, that's it. So I mean, there'll be it'll run at other times. Like we'll run it again next year, but this is going to be it for this one. And there's some information about it. I will leave a link for it right here. Oh, I thought I just copied it for you guys if you want to sign into it. And yeah. Thanks for coming, guys. Have a great evening, and I'll talk to you again soon.